Welcome to it, sports fans. It is the MKT Show. It is Friday. Friday. Um, so if you live in the Republic of South Africa, we're not in the world of excuses, but we have something called load shedding here, and that has prohibited the start of the show at the regular 8 o'clock slot. But we're here, load shedding and all. We've made it over the hill. No excuses. No excuses. I survived a pandemic. I'm not going to let load shedding hold me back. But we've got a generator here, all professional all the time. Welcome to it, the MKT Show. I'm MKT. It is Cliff Central Sport. And we're going to get into today's Friday. So we'll have the regular Friday 5. With it being the Super Bowl this weekend, what I decided was, with the great Tom Brady going into just a remarkable run at the age of 43, I thought I'd go with the 5 greatest American sportsmen of all time. So I'll give you the Friday 5. It'll be the 5 greatest American sportsmen of all time. And last night, Spurs did the unthinkable. They made Chelsea Football Club look like they're a world-class football team. That was ridiculous. I'll give my thoughts on Spurs and everything they're going through. Cliff Central Sport, otherwise Cliff C Sport on the Tweet Monster. Otherwise, I'm MKT Inspires on all social media platforms. Be a friend, tell a friend. And if you haven't liked or subscribed and shared, myself and a guy called, very, very Polish guy called Ben Karpinski are engaging together. And we've come together with Betway South Africa for a show called The Way to Go Show. So go and check out that social media. I give my 5 picks for the week. And yeah, you're welcome. 5 perfect picks. There's no ways they're going to be wrong this week. Go and check that out. Betway South Africa. Otherwise, check it out on my Instagram, Twitter. It is MKT. That's Mike Kilo Tango Inspires. And go and like, share, subscribe the show, The Way to Go Show. Great show. Great show. We got into the second episode this week with Ben and myself. And I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. All right, before we get into it, Rikus Swart says, the pandemic is not over. You is not over. You have not survived it yet. That's a good reminder. That is a good reminder. The pandemic is still very much here. It is 2020 part 2. Rikus, great point. Great point. Because I was getting a little obnoxious there. Human beings, that's what they're going to do, get ahead of themselves. This pandemic thing's still very real. So, all right. Well, listen, I'm not a doctor. Let's get into what I do. Let's talk a little bit about sport. The 5 greatest American sportsmen of all time. It is Tom Brady doing the unthinkable 10th Super Bowl this week. So I'll give you the 5 greatest American sportsmen of all time. All right, at number 5, this one's really a open and shut case. 23 gold medals. The only thing is that his sport is rather peripheral. Otherwise, he'd be higher on this list. But he's the greatest Olympian of all time. I don't care what sport you're doing. And I don't mean the stuff that's being included now, surfing, and now there's tiddlywinks in Olympics. Now, obviously, it's the time of inclusion. This is one of the staple sports, the blue blood sports of this event, right? 23 gold medals. 23 gold medals. It's outrageous. People train 10, 12 years to get 1. He's got 23. It's open and shut. I don't even want to get into his the litany of skills he has in the pool. He's a human fish. That's the other reason he makes this list. He is a human fish. Michael Phelps, undoubtedly, at number 5. Human fish. He's got gills. Running from Baltimore. Absolutely incredible young man. Michael Phelps, the 5th greatest sportsman America's ever produced. At number 4, 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals. That's his claim to fame. He took the NBA global. That was greatness on its own. He carried the league for a long time. He does get docked, though. 2 times he had to retire. Once to go and play baseball. Once some gambling stuff. So he had to rest in the middle of his career. And by 33, 34, it was all over. It was all over. He couldn't beat a dynasty early. I don't want to hear excuses. If he's as great as people say they are, he should have beaten these guys. But ultimately he is 6 for 6 in finals. Once he was ready to win, once he got Phil Jackson, once he had Scottie Pippen, and ultimately to go over the top, he had Dennis Rodman. That was all she wrote. At number 4, the great, the one and only Michael Jordan, the absolutely great, transcendent. I mean, his documentary, for those who haven't seen it, The Last Dance, sensational. The 4th greatest American sportsman of all time. At number 3, I think the man who's taken the mantle from him, what LeBron James is doing at 36 now. Look, he's the best basketball player of all time. That's clear, all round. It's not just about stat padding. He beat the Golden State Warriors, who are comfortably the greatest team of all time. He did it with the flaky Kyrie Irving. We now know Kyrie Irving's a flake, right? He's a flake with really no help. You know, Kyrie's talented, but LeBron essentially on his own beat Draymond, Clay, and Steph, and Steve Kerr. So, I mean, LeBron James, just the things he's doing at 36, it shouldn't be doable. It's not a longevity award, but LeBron James has been the best player in the NBA now for 15 years in a row. 15 years in a row. He's been the best player. Go and find me any industry in the world where somebody is head and shoulders. I'll give me Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant won at the Golden State Warriors. That was it. LeBron James is the undisputed king for the last 15 years in basketball. That's sensational. Go and find me any industry where somebody's been the best for 15 years or more. 10 years. Go and find 10 years in a row of greatness. There are very few people, CEOs. Go and find me a student in school. LeBron James at number 3. Just a phenomenon. The top 2 separate themselves. At number 2, 10 Super Bowls, 6 wins. He's going to his 10th. It could be 7. He's different. 43, quarterback's the hardest position to play in American sport. And it is a brutal sport. It is a warrior sport. He's the guy. He's the guy of all guys within guys. It's America's greatest athletes on the greatest stages in the most brutal, most vicious sport where the greatest minds, the greatest talent, the most money is, and he continues to win. At 43, the rest of the greats were being voted into the Hall of Fame. By the way, you got to be out of the league for 6 years or for 5 years before you get voted in as a Hall of Famer. Tom Brady's about to go to his 10th Super Bowl. Tom Brady's been to more Super Bowls, right, in this after the age of 37 than Drew Brees, right, and the guy in Green Bay combined, Aaron Rodgers. Just let that sink in. 10 Super Bowls. He's got more Super Bowl appearances than most of the league combined. Forget about like players. Most of the teams combined. 10 Super Bowls. Are you kidding me? Only 2 franchises have more Super Bowl appearances than Tom Brady. It's the last franchise he was at, being one of them. It's just outrageous. 10 Super Bowls. It's 6, and I don't think he'll win, but it's crazy. He's the 2nd greatest American sportsman of all time by some distance. At number 1, he's all alone here. Listen, nobody in sport has ever single-handedly moved the ratings. Nobody in sport has ever been a cult figure like this. You watch on Sundays, right? There was 5-6 years where red Nike shirts, they couldn't produce them fast enough to sell them. Sundays were known as Red Sunday. There were days when Nike couldn't produce enough shirts. I'm talking like a 5-year run. I was reading an article where Nike could not produce enough red shirts to sell. Nobody moves TV ratings on their own in sport. Sport transcends everybody. Listen, Michael Phelps left. The Olympics were fine. Michael Jordan, everybody thought the league's over. They were fine. LeBron James has come. LeBron James will leave the NBA. We got Jamal Murray. We got Giannis Antetokounmpo. They'll move on. This guy left golf for 5 years. It tanked. He came back. Ratings went up 200%. Sponsorship went up 500% when he came back. Cult figure. Listen, this is an elitist sport. Nobody cares about golf. It's for the really rich guys with big stomachs. that want to get away from their wives. Let's be honest, that's what golf is. Right? That you got a little bit of a tummy, you made some extra money, and you just want to hang out with your friends. You want to get away from your kids. That's who golf's for. He came in, changed the world. He changed the platform of what great was. From the age of 21, we've never seen a force like this man. He's the first man to collect $1 billion as a sportsman. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not even close. I've never been a proponent of sportsmen need to be role models. Society, raise your own kids. Just raise your own kids. It's just because somebody won a genetic lottery, it does not mean they have the moral high ground on anything. If anything, they're in a terrible position to be role models because they get given everything. They get given a schedule. They're barely grown-ups. But what they will do is entertain you and show you what the human mind and the human body are capable of. Take that from them. Work ethic, dedication. But raise your own kids. Because this man at number 1 is the undisputed king of American sport. It's the one and only Tiger Eldrick Woods. He's the greatest. Nobody comes close. You don't even need to watch golf or care about golf. You've watched Tiger Sundays. You get to Mondays when Tiger's playing, you get to work. What happened with Tiger? And quite frankly, I like watching golf, so I'm a little bit different. But people who didn't like golf, it was like Schumacher in the end. I mean, and Schumacher doesn't register on this scale. Tiger Woods, you've seen how people follow Tiger around the golf course. Nobody else has that. Folks, 142 straight cuts he made in golf. Rory McIlroy has the longest run right now at 32. There is no comparison. You've never seen a force like him in American sports before, and maybe even in global sport. At number 5, Michael Phelps. Number 4, Michael Jordan. Number 3, LeBron James. Number 2, Thomas Edward Brady II, Jr. And at number 1, the great Tiger Woods. You've never seen anything like him. You have never seen anything like those. Greatest American sports of all time. That is my Friday 5. All right, before I get into Spurs, take a comment. Rika says, no Floyd Mayweather. Well, here's the thing. Floyd Mayweather is not the greatest boxer of all time. So if I can't include the other boxers, I think Roy Jones Jr. And by the way, Rikus, if you think you're catching me out, because a lot of people think they catch me out, I've been into boxing since I was 5 years old. The greatest American boxer of all time, perhaps the greatest boxer in my eyes of all time, is Roy Jones Jr. So I can't put Floyd on the list because he's not even the best boxer of all time. I like his business acumen. I love Floyd Mayweather, the boxer. I love his defensive art, probably the greatest defensive boxer of all time. But he's certainly not the greatest boxer of all time. I think he's in the top 2 or 3 of the modern greats. But you've never, if you like boxing, go and look up Roy Jones Jr.'s fight. You've never seen a marriage of attack and defense. Truly the sweet science. Roy Jones Jr., prime middleweight, was unstoppable. That was the greatest force boxing has ever seen, I believe, in the modern era. Nothing's been close. Don't give me Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was good for 15 seconds. Great for 15 seconds. But ultimately, once people figured out you just stay on the outside of him, he tires himself out. And Buster Douglas showed us the secret there. And Mike unraveled pretty quickly. Roy Jones Jr., the greatest. Love Floyd, not the greatest, though. I know the hype machine's strong. I've been watching I've been watching boxing since I was 5 years old. You've never seen anything like Roy Jones Jr. Ever. I believe in combat sport. We have not seen Roy Jones Jr. So I love Floyd. Can't put him on the list. Where does he fit in? Michael Phelps is the greatest Olympian of all time. You got Jordan, LeBron James, Tom Brady, and then Tiger Woods. Who does he replace there? And I love Floyd. He's got his stuff off the field, and I don't like that. But his obsession with his sport. I'm all about people that are obsessed with what they do. I've got an obsessive personality myself. So, yeah. Good question, though. That's a good one. Floyd's a good one. He would have been close. I just couldn't look past these 5. All right, let's get into the football. If you're a Spurs fan, this will be tough for you, as it is for everybody. Listen, in life, now we're being raised, right? It's our parents, our friends, the internet, our Instagram friends are going to tell us what is it? I don't want to be insensitive. People say I'm insensitive. So body positive and just it's not your fault. The world needs to make more space for more people. Okay, fine. I don't go with that, but okay, if that's what you believe, right? Let's all be inclusive. Let's open it up to everybody. I don't like it. But okay, fine. Have it. Listen, when you get in a relationship, so if you're a child and you want to be soft, great, do that. Go cry in a little corner, whatever. I don't make excuses. I don't want excuses in my life. And I'm all about alpha females and alpha males. Take responsibility. Everything's your fault. You get all the credit if things go well. You get all of the will admonish what you do if things go badly. That's just being a grown-up, right? You don't raise a baby and you only take the credit for the good stuff. If you're a grown-up, please take some responsibility. Folks, when you get into relationships now, stop talking to me about toxic and this and that. And not everything's toxic. Take some responsibility. Maybe you're the toxic one. Folks, when you get into a relationship and this idea, right, I hear it all the time, love me as I am, not how you want me to be. And I go, you sound stupid. You sound ridiculous. When you get into a relationship, it should change you. If you get into a relationship and it doesn't change you, you're not in a relationship. You're number one, you're being selfish because you're not even thinking about the other person. Just be single then. This idea that when we get into relationships and they don't make us better, they don't make us less selfish. What type of people? Who are these people? Like these, you know who I'm talking about, is they have the Instagram followers with the gray photo and they've got an ankle bracelet and they're sitting somewhere on a lake. You know the type of people. Just take care of yourself in your relationship. Relationships should be hard. Relationships should change you. They should challenge your norms. They should challenge your upbringing. Especially if you're a guy, I'm going to speak for men, is guys, you need to be changed by your relationship. Don't love me how I am. Yes, change me. Challenge who I am. That is what being in a relationship is. And I'll tell you the hardest part of being in a relationship is you have to grow up. Tottenham Hotspur have to grow up. Because I'm hearing a lot of the talk is Spurs have to grow up. Because what's cool about being a guy? Being the frat guy, right? I'm the biggest, I drink the most, and I'm downing beers with the boys. That's cool, man. That's so cool, dude. You are so cool doing that in your teens and 20s. Name one good woman you know that wants her husband at 50 downing beers at a nightclub when he's a CEO. At a family function. Just name one good woman you know who wants to be dating that guy. It doesn't exist. No good woman wants to be dating the frat boy at 50. Stop. And that's what Tottenham are starting to feel like. Because the Tottenham are the fun club. Everybody likes Tottenham. They play exciting football. They've always got Ginola. They've got Bale. They've got these, everybody likes the underdog. And that's a comfortable life, by the way. When you're the fun guy at the party, everybody likes you. When you're the guy that tells everybody, listen, I've got to be considerate of my neighbors, nobody likes that guy. Right? Nobody likes that guy, but he's right. Because winning is ugly. Being a grown-up is ugly because you're going to have to make decisions that are about the greater cause and not just what do we want to do like frat boys, right? Tottenham need to grow up, and in order to win, you have to change. So in order to be the little boy that leaves mommy's house and your mommy was making you sandwiches before you go to work, and now you're moving with your wife, you got to pick up your own socks because mommy's not there. You got to make lunch for your wife, your girlfriend, your spouse. She's a woman now. She expects you on Saturdays not to be golfing all day and drinking with the boys. You've got to change. Spurs now need to grow up. Hand the club over to Jose Mourinho. How do we win? Jose, show us how to win. They're in a cup final for the first time in forever. Could you stop whinging? And also be self-aware of who you are. You're not Chelsea. You're not Arsenal. You're not Man United. Folks, it's hard to grow up. It's hard to change. It's hard to tell yourself, as I am, I'm not good enough to be a man. I'm not good enough to win. It's hard, man. It takes a good woman to come into your life and go, hey, sorry, that's not acceptable. Cooking and leaving the kitchen looking like that. Sorry, I don't know where that happened. Like, clean the kitchen, put the seat down. It's hard because your mommy's told you your whole life you're special and you're fun. That's okay. But then you got to grow up. And it's hard because it tells you everything about you is wrong as it is. Tottenham need to relax. Jose's got this thing on lock. There are players that aren't good enough. He'll get rid of those. But as with anything, it's painful. You have to be willing to endure pain to change. Because you have to uproot. And change has to be absolute, by the way. You can't kind of change. You know, you can't be the fun guy and then kind of change. That doesn't work. Put the beers down, pal, and be there for your girlfriend, your wife, support her. And when she needs something, be there. Go do the shopping, pal. She can't always be doing the shopping. She's also got a job on Monday. Tottenham need to grow up. Winning's an ugly business. Last night was an indication. Jose knows it is nowhere close. By the way, Tottenham, you're in the top 8. That's what you are as a club. I don't want Tottenham fans thinking all of a sudden they're a Champions League club because they had a couple of seasons in the Champions League. Grow up. It's hard. Be an adult. Pick up your own socks. Frat boys are so fun, guys. They're, being the oak at the pub, at the golf club, it's lekker. Probably single, though. And if you're in a relationship, it's probably awful. Because your wife's girlfriend's yapping at you. Not because she's a horrible person. Because nobody wants to date a frat boy. Because frat boys don't win. I know, we live in a time where old school isn't cool. But you know who still runs companies? Old guys, old ladies that are put together. Oprah, right? Larry King, when he passed. Right? Elon Musk, all in their 50s. Zucks is getting into his 40s now. 45, 50 years old. Button it up. Spurs are the frat boy. They still want to be fun. They still want to get hammered. Be doing Jaeger bombs on a Sunday at 6 o'clock at the golf club. Get home, rest, plan your week. It's painful. Give up your ex to be your next level, right? They say in order to do things you've never done before, you have to be willing to do things you've never done before. And Tottenham, I don't know if they're willing to, but just hand the club over to Jose. It's painful now. Listening to Tottenham fans talking about Jose getting sacked is ridiculous. Stay patient. Change is hard. Growing up's hard. Relationships should change you. Tottenham should want to change, by the way. It should be the Jose way, not the Tottenham way. You know how I know that? They're in a cup final with Jose. He might win them their first trophy, I think, since 2009. Change. Be willing to change. If you're in a relationship, stop saying stupid things that you read on Instagram or your friends reaffirm about, oh, my partner should love me how I am. No, they shouldn't. You're a child. You're a grown-up. It's why you've been single for 10 years. Grow up. Be more sensitive, right? If real women are going to need you to do stuff, pitch up. Be there. Do the shopping. Organize the garden. Get the swimming pool clean. There's no mommy and daddy anymore. Tottenham are like an infant. Mourinho saying, to be grown up, let's get this thing together, please. And I need to get some grown-ups in the room. I can't have Dyer. I can't have, who are these guys? Davies. That's not going to work. Ndombele. It's not going to work. You know how Mourinho won? Terry, Carvalho, Paulo Ferreira, Ashley Cole, Ian Robin, Didier Drogba. That's how he won. Cristiano Ronaldo, Mesut Ozil, Sami Khedira. Right? That's how you won. Samuel Eto'o. You get some grown-ups in the room. And that's painful, folks, for Tottenham to be told you're doing small boy things in a big man world. It's tough. Sharks out there, folks. Sharks and piranhas, they'll get you. Tottenham right now, no good. No edge. Mourinho's got edge. And it's clashing with Tottenham's culture because Tottenham want to be fun. Winning's not a fun business. Folks, in life you have to choose. You can be fun. Enjoy that. Or you can be Elon Musk. Right? Or you can be Oprah. Right? Or you can be Beyonce. That's not fun. That's turning up at work 15, 16 hours a day for 20 years. Or you can be the fun guy on Friday at drinks. You're the fun lady. You've got the most, you're buzzing. You're drinking by 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Fridays. That's who Tottenham are. The fun guy. You want to be the fun guy till you're about 28. And then you got to grow up. Tough times for Tottenham. But Daniel Levy, do not pull the trigger. Jose Mourinho's the guy. I don't want to hear these new school kids telling me Mourinho's finished. Folks, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer spent over £300 million. He hasn't been in a cup final. There's no guarantee he's going to be in the top 4 this season. I don't think he will be. Mourinho won 2 trophies at a shambles of a football club. That was 3 years ago. Don't give me that. And he got players he didn't want. He didn't want Pogba. Ollie's got it all his own way, and I've seen United go from Europa League to Europa League. Spurs, stay patient, do the right thing. All right, folks, for this week, you could have been anywhere with anybody. You chose to be with me. It's been awesome. Love doing this. Just another reminder, very, very soon, I will announce it. We will announce it. Gareth Cliff, who's over here next to me, social distancing, he'll announce exactly the times or the date that we will be moving from midday to 2 p.m. every day. So listen, if you're at home and your boyfriend, your husband is annoying you, just stick your earphones in. Listen to me for 2 hours. Happy to keep you company. Looking forward to doing that. It's going to be awesome. The team's going to grow. The production's going to grow. Be a friend, tell a friend. Cliff Central Sport. Otherwise, get a hold of me at sport@cliffcentral.com. Otherwise, I'm MKT. That's Mike Kilo Tango. MKT Inspires on all social media platforms. Click that one if you like the content. Don't click anything if you don't like it. Get back to feeding your goldfish or whatever you were doing before this. But for now, for this week, it's been awesome. You're awesome. Stay blessed and stay loved and enjoy the sporting weekend. The golf's on. The football's on. There's UFC this weekend. There's a little bit of boxing this weekend. That terribly boring sport, I understand. Formula One's coming back at some stage. So it's coming back slowly but surely. The vaccine's coming into the global consciousness. So that's good news for us. There's NBA this weekend, by the way. The Proteas are trying to ruin my weekend because Aiden Markram can't. I don't know what he was doing. But I'm here for it. Proteas till I die. Can't choose my team. England, India, I think is going to be smashing. That's going to be a great test. Joe Root's been phenomenal on the subcontinent. So plenty of sports. And then, of course, the big one, the Super Bowl, Sunday, 1:30 a.m. going into Monday morning. Cannot wait. Enjoy if you're into that side of things. Sport@cliffcentral.com, MKT Inspires on social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, for tonight and for this week, my name is MKT. That's Gareth Cliff. This is Cliff Central Sport. It is the MKT Show. For now, we are the hell out of here.